France 24. I'm joined, as always, by James Creedon in studio. Hello, James.
Good evening, Claire.
You're going to start us off here in Paris. Xi Jinping is here, and a focus, strangely enough, on what he's been wearing.
Usually the focus is on first ladies and the get-up and style comparisons, etc. But for once, the focus is on the head of state, or the head of government himself, and whether or not he would wear a Mao suit in Paris. Now, he did, in a trip to the Netherlands, sport a Mao suit, as you can see here in this image. So there was a certain amount of speculation in the French media as to whether or not he would do the same on his trip to Paris. Even on rolling news channel LCI, they had a whole couple of minutes of analysis of that and whether or not he would go down that road as opposed to sporting the Western style suit. In any case, he didn't during his meetings with François Hollande. I suppose it was more down to business at the Elysee and during the Paris end of the trip with, as we heard in the business bulletin, 18 billion euros worth of deals. So he did wear the Western capitalist style suit for that particular
shirts and
leg
ties
of
there.
the trip. But it did go down well in China, certainly on social media, etc. There was a lot of approval for the leader displaying national pride and confidence in Chinese culture in donning the Mao style round collar.
He could dress up a bit there when he was meeting royalty.
Indeed.
So moving on, the mayoral candidates here in the city, they faced off on the French rolling news channel INTERNATIONALE.
That's right. A lot of coverage of that particular clash or that face-off on French rolling news channel INTERNATIONALE this afternoon. While the rest of the channels were covering Xi Jinping's trip to Paris, there was full 2 to 3 hours back-to-back coverage of that particular face-off. It's a very tight race for the Paris City Hall. NKM, as she's known by her acronym, did slightly win the first round last Sunday, and it's going to be a tight race next Sunday. So it was a very tense discussion, a very tense debate, with each calling the other liar several times during that 1 hour clash. You can see there, menteuse meaning liar. So that's the way it was distilled on social media. At one point,
of course, these televised debates can be make or break, can't they, for candidates?
Absolutely. And I think I have to say Anne Hidalgo, the socialist candidate, did come across a little bit better than Nathalie Kosciusko-Morizet, who has had a tough campaign. And I think the fact that it has been a tough campaign and her communication style has been criticised, the fact that she did manage to edge ahead in the first round is a sign of the woes generally of the Socialist Party under François Hollande. National considerations seeping into local elections. Now, one of the things that she was very criticised for was her lack of, judgment of still images on social media. This was her casting her ballot in the first round, and she kind of was caught on camera doing this rather dramatic hair flick. And there have been a lot of these images doing the rounds of Nathalie Kosciusko-Morizet on social media, where, for example, she called the metro a place, un lieu de charme, and that was vastly satirised on social media during the campaign. A lot of people saying it's not quite as charming or as graceful as that for most commuters. There was that image as well where she was seen smoking with homeless people in very much a failed PR stunt. Sitting alongside the canal, things like that. So she didn't really manage that aspect of the campaign, I would say, very successfully. But in any case, we'll see whether or not that penalises her, in the run-up to this Sunday's final vote.
Well, if a girl has to flick her hair, she has to flick her hair, James. Simple as that. Finally, a photo that sums up our tech-obsessed times.
This is Kanye West. Did I pronounce that correctly? I've been mispronouncing it all day. In any case, this photo
You're too cool, James.
It's been doing the rounds of social media since Monday. A sort of a meta photo that sums up our tech-obsessed times, Claire. There he is, photographing Kim Kardashian, who is herself photographing herself with her smartphone in a mirror. It's very meta and a little bit selfie-absorbed, you could say, but that image is certainly one I think that some people have been saying that they'll be teaching it in media study classes in 100 years' time to show the extent to which we've become a little bit obsessed with our technology and, by extension, ourselves. Now, I'll finish with the sentence or the expression that has pretty much done the rounds of social media massively today. This is the announcement of the split between Gwyneth Paltrow and Chris Martin. Not a split, not a breakup, Claire, but conscious uncoupling.
Very emotionally aware.
Exactly. You see, so it's very much putting a positive spin on it, and it's a decision, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, and it's not necessarily, hair flying and, all sorts of upset and sadness. It's a positive decision where both parties amicably come to a decision to consciously go their separate ways.
To co-parent, as
That
they
is
say.
the latest
And
way.
it crashed her website.
Indeed it did. So I think it's one that certainly we won't be hearing the last of that expression coined by Ms. Paltrow. Unconscious coupling. Or
James,
conscious, what is it? Conscious uncoupling.
Conscious uncoupling. If you're going to quote Gwyneth, you got to get
I
it
need
right.
to remember it.
James Creedon, thank you very much for that roundup of Media Watch here on
Thanks,
France 24. You're watching live from Paris. Quick break now. Stay with us.